All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome. Welcome. Uh, Today, we're going to be talking about your CRNA career game plan, from job offer to interview to final offer. And really, a big piece of this is knowing your worth. What do you deserve? And a lot of the things we're going to talk about are unique tools and strategies you can employ for contract negotiation to kind of get yourself a better offer. Before we get started, though, I think some introductions are in order. I am Jeff. I work with Jackson Physician Search. We're a retained search firm that works all across the country. And to give you a little insight about me, I've been in the business recruiting providers for over 18 years. So I've been recruiting CRNAs, advanced practice providers, and physicians since 2007. And I'm joined today by my good colleague, Jared Collins, who's the EVP for Strategic Partnerships at Motion. And so, Jared, why don't you introduce yourself?
Thanks, Jeff. I'm really excited to be here today and do this with you. Everyone, my name is Jared. As everybody probably knows, if you haven't seen it yet, ANA launched a really cool new career platform almost 2 years ago to this day, and it's called Motion. And at the tail end of this presentation, I'll get to show it to you. We'll do a quick little run through and show you what it looks like. But really excited to be a part of this today.
Yeah, and we're really excited to have you here today, Jared. I think that a lot of that, what I'm going to talk about today is strategy and theory, right? On how do you negotiate? And as I talk today, a lot of you guys will be asking questions. Well, how do I find this information? Or how do I know this stuff? Well, Motion is going to give you all those answers, which we're learning about shortly. But as we dive into today, when I think about any job search, I think that the two things that we're going to talk about are the two D's, which I like to refer to, which is number one, discovery. What, and by discovery, I mean, what do I need to learn? And then on top of that, number two, decision making. What do I need to decide on? And in the context of finding a job and negotiating a job offer, right? I think it's easy to take those leaps, right? I'm going to discover, I'm going to find everything I need to know. And then once I know as much as I can, I'm going to make a decision on it. And that's really at the core of what we're getting into today. Because every job search, as you can imagine, employs both those things. And when you think about it, drilling it down a little bit, I think, number one, thinking about the contract terms, identifying them, evaluating what do you want? What fits? What are some red flags? What are some deal breakers? Number two, well, I like this job. Maybe the offer isn't exactly what I want it to be. How do I negotiate for this? How am I confident that what I'm asking for, I'm going to get? Number three, understanding comp, benefits. What does that all mean? I mean, especially in a CRNA world, right? Half of you guys are W-2'd with benefits. The other half are 1099. Kind of understanding the dichotomy of your choice, right? Which is better for me? Neither is a wrong answer, but both fit different people. And then finally, as I mentioned, right? Where can I do this discovery? Where can I find this information? I think you'll find in the course of our presentation that Motion is going to help you out to give you a lot of those answers, which we'll get to shortly. And so when we think about a job, right, there's the two pieces, right? There's discovery, right? I have to call them. I have to reach out via email. I have to text them. I need to speak to them. I probably need to go meet them. All of those pieces are a part of discovery. And an easy way to look at that part is the interview process, right? We're talking about the interview process. And so we've all been on interviews, right? And I think it's our best intent when we go on an interview is find out, is this what I want? But I think at the same time, we want to be cognizant and understanding that are some of these things that I don't want, right? I think that, when you go on a first date, which an interview is similar to, you want to find all the things you like, and maybe you don't think about the things you wouldn't like. And so some of this things is some of this is looking out for red flags you have, whether that be high turnover, right? Is this a stable group, right? Are they going to count on me to do more call? Are people happy? Do they have a smile on their faces? Is there a positive culture here? Is there an imbalance, right? Am I taking all the extra call and maybe it's the chief CRNA or the physician supervisor and that type of thing? Are they reaping all the rewards for it? What is their technology, right? I think the easiest thing comes to mind is EMR. I think we all know the emerging market is AI. How can we get AI? How can they help me with charting? How can they help me be more efficient? what's in the contract? What are the terms? Is everything spelled out specifically, or are things more vague, right? I think we all want uncertainty is an important part. And that's what you find in the discovery process. And then most importantly, avoiding those vague answers. I think anyone that's going to want you to be somewhere for a long, long time is probably going to tell you the good and the bad, right? No, there's no utopia, right? And so, it's navigating those vague answers to say what is real, what's not. And a certain thing of this, right, is when we think about work, right, we all work for an income. And certainly we have other passions associated with it. Giving back, helping others, improving population health, all those things are important. But compensation also runs into work-life balance, right? And so I think it's important that you're cognizant and thoughtful about what that means to you. I mean, it's easy to say, a lot of your CRNAs out there, been in master's degree for many years, you're incurring debt, right? And your first inkling after school is, well, I got to get the highest paying job. And there's nothing wrong with that. But we all know the old adage, right? The more you work, the more you make. And so making sure that the compensation you're seeking is aligned well with the work you're going to be giving, because we all want to be rewarded appropriately. And so, that starts with, not just call, but how busy am I during the day? Am I going to be taking charting home with me? Is there flexible scheduling? What if I like to travel? What if I want block scheduling? Um, what's it like working with leadership? That could be other CRNAs, what level of autonomy it is. How does this integrate into a larger physician group? I mean, we all know there's different types of practices there. And it's not all salary, right? We know a good percentage of CRNAs today are going into more employed W-2 models. What does the pay time off look like? What about parental leave, health insurance, disability, all of those protections that come with coming employed? And then, doing your due diligence, asking direct questions, reviewing the contract terms carefully. And a lot of people would recommend that you can use an attorney. I also know a lot of people that are leveraging AI, right? Using ChatGPT, finding the answer you want. I'm not an attorney. I can't give you contractual advice, but certainly I think the other piece is there's many avenues out there to become better informed. But really, at the end of the day, as you start to think about the interview or the discovery process, I think that the ultimate goal and what we all want to discover or know is that we're prepared, right? And we're prepared to make a decision. And making a decision while about the job and what I'm going to be doing, it's certainly about the terms in which I'm going to be doing it as well. And that's really where we fall into sort of, we've done the discovery and now we're ready to make a decision. And what is our decision? What is our goal, if you will? And so when we think about, we've discovered everything we can about the job, and we've probably also leveraged motion to discover about other jobs as well. What are they paying? What is their benefits? What does their schedule look like? We're gaining a knowledge base and discovery to make a decision. And so as you approach the decision, what's important, right? What do I really value? Is it income upside? Is it schedule flexibility? Is it quality of life? Is it the people I'm with? Um, Understanding trade-offs. I can't work one day a week and make the highest salary. I can't work, if I work every day, I want to demand the highest salary, right? So it's understanding what's most important to you and then being willing to make trade-offs thereafter. Prioritizing, right? Many of you out there have a lot of debt and are prioritizing income. Many of you else are saying, you know what, I've been in school for so long, I've been working 80, 100-hour weeks. I want some quality of life, right? Are you prioritizing in that role? And then understanding that when you go to the table, you really get one time to negotiate, right? No one wants someone that negotiates and gets what they want and then says, "Well, why don't I ask again?" Right? That's a damage that's a reputation ruiner, that's a relationship ruiner. So just keeping in mind that the reason that discovery and preparation is so important is you get that one chance to negotiate. And so as we think about negotiation, right? I think that for me, there's a key construct into which I like to think about every negotiation. And that for me is a BATNA. And so BATNA is an acronym, as you can probably see. And you're probably wondering, well, what does that mean? And it's pretty simple. A BATNA is a best alternative to a negotiating agreement. So that means that if my colleague Jared and I are here and we're negotiating on where to go to dinner, right? I have a best alternative to what he and I make a decision on, right? That alternative could be like, I'm going to stay at home and eat by myself. That could say, well, I really want to go to dinner with Jared, so maybe I'll go somewhere that Jared wants to go, and I maybe I won't care. But at the same time, it's important to understand Jared has a bat in it too. Maybe he doesn't want to go to dinner with me. I don't know. I hope not. But understanding that everyone has a best alternative to any negotiating you have. And what I said with the dinner example with Jared is somewhat cliche. But when you think about it in a contract negotiation, right, you got to think about, well, if I want to ask for more, or I want to get more from them, or more flexibility, or more money, or more of whatever you want, you know, I may want that, but what do they want, right? Is I'm their first choice, but if I don't take their offer, do they just have someone else behind me, right? So it's thinking about this holistically and understanding that not only is what my best alternative to saying yes, right? And maybe it's another job offer that you find equivalent, but also understanding what theirs is as well. Because really understanding each person's best alternative is really what creates the hinge on leverage, right? And if you have a better alternative, right, you have more leverage to negotiate for more. Whereas if the employer or who you're going to go join, maybe it's they're paying $1 million a year to work 2 days a week and it's on the moon, right? But they have 100 other people. Where if you say no, they're going to take someone else, right? Their BATNA is better than yours. So and I know these are outlandish ways to think about it, but I think that it's important to understand that in any agreement, right, whether that's Jared and I going to dinner or you accepting a job, we all have a better alternative to saying yes and knowing what that means. And so a BATNA, great in theory, but how should I employ this in reality, right? And so when I think about a job, to me, there's really 6 things that myself as a recruiter that I want to know, right? And number one is that, income bonuses, that type of thing, right? Are they going to pay me appropriately? Are they going to keep me there by retention bonus? Are they going to help me relocate there? Are there bonus if I work more, right? Those are certain things. Secondary to that, call, right? I think every provider that takes call, how can I do less of it and make more, right? Isn't that the golden rule? But defining frequency, duration, compensation, getting all those terms in writing. Number 3, benefits, right? Many of you will go into 1099 models, right? You're going to maximize your income and benefits are not as important. Others of you say, you know what? I don't want to fool with that. And I actually like the stability of an employer. And I like them taking my taxes out. And I like that they provide my health insurance and all the values of that. Understanding what those mean and how maybe, yes, you may take less in a W-2 role, but you have the security of those benefits, or you may make more in a 1099 role and you don't have that behind you. Certainly, an ancillary piece is I certainly want to know what I'm doing tomorrow, but what does this look like 3, 5, 10 years from now? How's career growth? How, whether that's taking on more responsibility, whether that's extra income, all those things are important. Certainly, depending on the state you're in, also contract terms, right? Covenants not to compete, all these types of things that can limit your mobility, limit where you can practice, limit what you can do. So making sure you're cognizant of that. And then finally, we all take a job, right? That we want to be there forever, right? Well, the hope is that we want to be there a long time, right? We want that sense of home. But certainly there's no utopia, right? And things happen in our lives and we change jobs. So what happens afterwards, right? How does this malpractice follow me? Is it occurrence based? Are they covering it? Is it claims based? Do I have to pay for it? All of those things are really important to be cognizant of, certainly before you enter, because they may impact you when you exit. And finally, what are some mistakes to avoid? Number one, don't go it alone. And that's why Jared's here, right? You can leverage this tool motion so well to find out anything you want to find out about the marketplace, whether that's call schedules, whether that's salaries, whether that's group size, all of that data is there. And you can use it to compare and contrast. Say, hey, well, I want to be in these two cities. They're the same to me, but I can log into Motion and I can see which has the better schedule, which has the better income. That data is there. You can go seek that out via Motion. Number two, know what matters, right? Everyone looks at jobs differently, whether that be location, whether that be time off, whether that be benefits, whether that be workplace flexibility, whether that be income upside, right? Know what's the most important driver for what you're seeking, and then be willing to take some trade-offs for it. Mind the details. You've probably heard the cliche, the devil is in the details. And certainly it is, right? Make sure that you're defining things thoroughly. Make sure you're seeking clarification. Make sure you're looking at terms, right? And and we're all excited about the entry terms, but what are the exit terms, right? I mean, we all want the marriage to work. 50% of all marriages end in divorce, right? That's a national figure. And certainly maybe that doesn't apply to CRNAs, but there's a likelihood of exits, right? So knowing that as well. And then planning for that, right? If you are going to exit, what does that impact on me? Is it time? Is it money? Is it insurance? Are there covenants not to compete? All of those things are vital, and all of those things become negotiable and trade-offs as you think about a job. And these are all great strategies to employ, but they're nothing if we don't have the use of motion. And so always remember, go into motion, benchmark your value, use that to learn more, then rank what you want, prioritize what's important to you. Frame those requests with data. As I mentioned, all that data is at your fingertips, just 2 clicks away. And then once you figured out what you want, think about the if then. If one thing isn't movable, then what else is? If I can't have X, how can I get Y? Right? And be willing to make trade-offs in this. Well, maybe I really want a 4-day work week, but to get that, I'm willing to accept less pay. Clarify ambiguities, seek clarity, ask for objectivity, right? A lot of what we talk about is good quality of life, flexible schedule. All of those terms are subjective, right? They mean something different to everyone. So define that objectivity. What does that mean? What is my exact schedule? Maintain a collaborative tone. You know, it's not all about the job seeker. It's about a collaborative effort to come together, right? So trade-offs are one part. Coming with a positive attitude, being an active listener, understanding their position. All those things are important. Once you come to those terms and you are ready to decide, though, and I can't stress this enough, get it in writing. Because I can't tell you how many times in my 8 years of recruiting providers that I've heard horror stories of, well, they told me this, and then I got there, and it wasn't that. Make sure you get those things in writing. And then finally, just remember your job search at many times is your number one priority. And it doesn't mean that the employer that you're contacting doesn't want you there. But I think that what you need to understand is they're doing millions of things throughout the day. And getting you the job is a part of that, but it's not all of that. And so what I always recommend to any job seeker is be patient, but stay persistent. Make sure that you're following up, but don't be that crazy ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend that's, texting every hour, right? Make sure that you give them grace, just like that you would want to receive. And finally, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Jared, because we've talked a lot about a lot of great strategies you can employ. And I think that what you'll learn as you discover motion is you are going to, as you discover, you are going to be so prepared that you're going to make the best decision possible. And motion's going to help you get there.
Thank you so much, Jeff. As I get ready to shift gears a little bit and talk specifically about motion, I just want to call attention. There is a Q&A button at the bottom. If there's anything that sparked your attention, or you want to direct a question towards Jeff, feel free to use that right now. Even as I gear up and I start to show my screen, he can field those questions and he can respond to you so that everybody on the webinar today can see that. Or of course we can pause and answer questions verbally on the fly for everybody too. So truly either or, but so just know that that's there, and please don't be shy. Feel free to use that. I'm going to start showing my screen right now. Go full screen. And with any luck, we're looking at a map. Maybe Jeff, give a little thumbs up. Do we look good?
We are looking at a map of the continental United States. There's a lot of green, which tells me there's a lot of opportunity.
That's exactly right. Awesome. Well, thank you. I didn't show it to you, but I'm already logged into the platform. Anyone on the call today, I suspect most of you are current AANA members. This is a member only tool. So it's a really nice, valuable piece of your membership. Your login that you use to AANA.com is the exact same login you use to get to the map. And that will take you right into a screen that looks a whole lot like the one that I'm at right now. I'm going to zoom out real quick, actually, and just show you. It's US only, but if we were to include Hawaii and Alaska, you've got about 11,000 dots at your fingertips. And this is updated daily, recognizing new practices, new facilities that are opening up, so that you have, if you think about it, the ability to actually see virtually every single practice you could ever imagine of every shape and size throughout the country. And there's filters on the left. In fact, the subspecialty filter is actually brand new, just launched today, a few hours before we went live, which is perfect timing. But there's a whole lot of other ones as well. And when Jeff kind of talks about, like, finding your fit, and it truly isn't a one size fits all. So what works for you might not work for everyone. And you've probably spent time in training or specialization to hone your craft and find an area of focus. That's exactly why this is here, for you to utilize that. Work settings, variety across the map, employment type, of course, as well. Preferences fall in here. And then a really cool thing, of course, we've got AANA's annual Congress coming up in a couple of weeks in Nashville. Hopefully many of you will be there. You can actually slice and dice the map by people that will be exhibiting in the exhibit hall, as well as those that are there for the career networking event, which is on Tuesday afternoon at the tail end of the annual Congress. So lots of really cool ways for you to use that within your search. But I'm gonna zoom into the map, and I bet you this part right here will make sense in just a moment. As you zoom back in, and of course the number of dots or sites correspond with our search. I'm gonna go today and pick on Phoenix. As we get into the Phoenix metro area, I'm gonna stop right about here and draw your attention again to these the flavors of dots that are on the map. And Jeff just mentioned, and he's right, there's a whole lot of green. You probably aren't shocked when you see that, because, as you know, right now is probably, I can't think of a better time to be entering the workforce for those of you that aren't working yet, or those of you that are already working. It's a wonderful time to be doing what you do, because there's a lot out there, which can feel both daunting and exciting. Motion allows you to see inside any market. We could zoom back out and you would see this in Denver, which is where Jeff and I are. But you see exactly what's going on currently on the motion map, both in terms of hiring, and then we'll get to the other dots in a second and explain what each of these is. Hiring is the easiest one. We'll go kind of fast. I'm going to actually go a little bit outside of town here and see who this is up in Wickenburg. The dot tells me there's at least one job there. That's what hiring means, right? And many times you might see multiple. So it's a PRN opportunity. Something really that Motion strived to do when we launched the platform a few years ago was transparency. And I think you'll all appreciate this. But do you ever think about where you hear the names of the contract management group, perhaps, that runs the actual contract at the facility, but you don't know, you can't differentiate, right? Maybe you don't know them, and you maybe don't even know the facility, but you want to know both. It's exactly what Motion's designed to do. So you can tell both the place where you'll be, as well as the group that you'll be affiliated with. So for those of you that know the Phoenix market, Guide Anesthesia is the former name is Arizona Anesthesia Solutions, but they manage the contract at Wickenburg Community Hospital. Really great way for you to see that, you know that, and you can learn a lot about Guide, but you can also learn about the job. And if you click on the job card right here, that gives you an opportunity to see some of the things that Jeff talked about. So differentiating between call schedule and hours, and really important information that allow you to educate yourself before potentially making a decision to move forward. Motions also, you might see the options up here, is completely designed to help you navigate the tool at your pace and at your preference. So perhaps you're not ready to actually apply because maybe you don't have a CV ready to do so. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But if you're not ready, you might just follow it and come back to it later. There's a whole section we'll look at in a minute where you can get back to the jobs that you're following because you weren't ready to apply, or for some reason you weren't going to move forward at that moment. If you are ready, there's actually two ways that you can communicate with your organization. One I'll say is the easy one, which is just a formal application, right? So imagine typing a little bit of a message right here, adding your CV and hitting send, and sure enough, they're going to get your profile, they're going to get what you wrote, and they're going to get your CV. But to Jeff's point, there might be some information that you want to know before you actually connect. And that's exactly what this is designed to do. So much what you see here, the CV is optional. You don't have to actually attach a CV. Maybe you just want to ask them a note, perhaps something about the role that you didn't see in the listing itself. If we'll look back here, there might be something missing. And if there is, that might be something you want to know before you formally apply. So ask that. The same technology exists. It triggers a message. It goes directly to the organization, and they'll get your message. And I'll show you in a minute where you can see if they've opened and read your message. So you get a little bit of, you feel like you're in the loop on perhaps, have they even looked at it yet? And Jeff talked about the busyness of recruiters. They're probably juggling a number of things on any given day. And know that that's true. And you might get a glimpse into, have they even read my message yet? And you can do that. I'll show you that in a minute. That's pretty straightforward, right? For hiring sites, you're looking at job opportunities. You can sort the map in a way where you can only look at opportunities that have jobs. And again, you might see several at one particular location. But what Motion did was kind of reimagine the job search experience beyond just jobs, but really truly a way to evaluate everything that's out there, including organizations that might not have a role today, but probably will tomorrow. We call that networking. And networking simply just means future opportunities. And you can think about maybe some folks on the call today are still in residency, preparing to find your first job, and you are a year out. Therefore, you can't take a job tomorrow anyways, and this is a perfect fit for you, is thinking about the future. Well, networking was designed for employers to really do the same thing for you, that they want the same thing. Maybe they're a year out. And let's go pick on a networking site. I'm going to go on the other side of town here and see who this might be. Greater Anesthesia Solutions. Okay, another contract management group that manages contracts in the area. This time it's with Mountain Vista Medical Center. And notice that, oops, you know what? I think I clicked on a hiring site. I meant to click on a networking. That's my bad. I was going too fast. Here we go. Also Greater Anesthesia Solutions, no job because you won't see one right here, but Banner Goldfield is the medical center. So again, transparency built in, where you'd be and who you're working for. And, but you'll notice there's no job here. And again, that's just opportunity to connect with them and find out more. So you can learn about greater anesthesia. You can learn potentially about the subspecialties that are being practiced at this location, maybe even things that are important to you around the types of, is it CRNA owned? Really important stuff. But you want to know maybe in Apache Junction, what's the situation? Ask them. In fact, you can literally see who you're going to communicate with. I've met Justin myself, actually, great, amazing person. And you can ask Justin a question. You can give him your CV too if you're ready, but maybe you just want to say, Justin, how far in advance, and I'll stop typing because you guys get the idea. How far in advance are you looking? What are you looking for? Here's my situation. We look at messages a lot on Motion to try to understand, have we played our role in facilitating these conversations? And I think we've nailed it with the sense of the technology. But what we find when we look at that is the most common question is, you're just telling your story. You're just telling them how far out you are or why you're looking to move to Phoenix and what's important to you. And you want to know if they have that. That's a perfect way for you to strike up a conversation, meet them, and start to ask those types of questions. So use that. That's called networking. And again, no jobs. By the way, tomorrow there could be a job there. And perhaps you want to get in the loop for that kind of a situation. I'm going to pause and show one really cool feature, and then I'll come back to what inactive means. Follow market. If you're active or even remotely active at thinking about getting to the Phoenix metro area, you're probably going to want to do this. Click the follow market button, draw a box around where you want to be. It might be precise, it might be the whole thing, whatever it is. It's going to tell you exactly how big that market is and what you're about to follow. And you might just say, let's call it Phoenix. And if I was to hit follow market, you would start getting notifications immediately, as quickly as new things pop up, new jobs, new sites, all the things. There's a secondary aspect to this, which is absolutely not for everybody, but I'm going to walk through it real quickly because it just might be something for you. If you were to flip the switch on this share my profile button right here, you notice that it's toggled off by default. But if you flip the switch, it tells you exactly what's going to happen. If you were to do that, the switch is flipped here and hit follow market, you're going to share your information with all the green dots in this area, all those organizations that are either hiring or networking. There's a disclaimer, of course, if you're already working there, your current employer might see it if they're one of the green ones. So know that that's true. But it might be a really great way for you to cast a wide net, share with everybody in that local market. Hey, I'm coming to Phoenix and I just want to talk to a bunch of people. It's a really efficient way for you to share your information with a lot of people at once. The alternative, of course, is to go one by one and say hello. So that's a little bit about that. Inactive, though, this is the last type of dot. If I step back and remember at the front of this, I shared that we built a map with virtually every place where you could ever imagine working. That includes the places that we just don't know about yet, but we'll find out for you. We'll do it anonymously on your behalf, and we'll go to bat for you. Here's how that works. So let me go in and pick on another facility, see who this is on the outskirts of town. Mayo Clinic in Scottsdale. We have data that tells us that they have CRNAs working there today, and that's probably obvious if you think about Mayo. But what we don't know is, would they want to talk to you? And would they want to meet you? But you'll notice right here that that's exactly what this is designed to do. It's actually in collaboration with Jackson Physician Search, Jeff Foster, who spoke just a minute ago. That team, we worked together to try to help you connect with them. And we actually put our team to work and find out. So if you click the I'm interested button, it tells you exactly what's going to happen. You can even click here if you're still kind of on the fence and wondering exactly how this process plays out. Read that. That's what it's there for you to do. But I'll summarize it for you. You tell us a little bit about why you want to find out about Mayo Clinic Scottsdale and what's important to you. We're going to connect with you very quickly, probably a Zoom call or a phone call, maybe even an email exchange, so we can package that information up and go to bat on your behalf. And we'll reach out to Mayo Clinic. We'll do it anonymously. We won't share your information so that you're not getting overwhelmed with phone calls and emails from all the places you want us to connect you with. And we'll find out if they want to meet you. If they do, wonderful. The introduction's made and you are on your way, and you actually manage that process directly with Mayo. If for some reason they choose not to, for one reason or another, maybe they're just simply not in the market to talk to anyone right now, we would report back to you, let you know what we learned, and go to bat for you for the next dot. Because my bet is, if you're interested in the Phoenix area, you might want to slide over here and start looking one by one by one. And in the Phoenix area alone, you could do this in any market you're interested in. There's 187 dots here. You could probably have you could spend a lot of time connecting with the green and the gray, and have a lot of fun with the tool. I'm going to show a couple more features here real quickly. When you think about kind of what's important to you, and Jeff alluded to some of this when you think about weighing the, truly what's unique and important to you, perhaps it's cost of living. So you could utilize the layers down here. Now, it's not meant to literally be a Zillow, but it's Zillow-like in the sense that it'll give you directionally where, and you might know this because if we've all been to Phoenix, we probably all know Scottsdale and that whole Carefree area, I believe, up here costs a little more to live. Maybe you're a resident coming out of training. Maybe you've never lived in Phoenix before and you don't know that. So this might be a really nice way to leverage the tool and understand that perhaps first job out of training, I might want to direct my search in this neighborhood, even though maybe grandma and grandpa live over here, but that's a short drive. I like the cost of living in Sun City or Surprise, and now I want to go look at traffic. So I want to see if I work here but live here, what would that look like? And we've mapped real-time traffic into the tool so you can actually start to recognize some traffic patterns and things like that. This is real time. Um, maybe, I think we're going to get lucky here because it's Phoenix. Maybe you love to golf and fill in the blank with whatever it is that's important to you. Fortunately, in Phoenix, there's a golf course on every corner, and you might just say, wow, that's incredible. You can't go click and learn more about Hillcrest Golf Club, but you can see that it's there, and you can see it's surrounded by wonderful homes, and you just found a community that you might want to go explore more information about. You can do all that without ever leaving Motion. I'm going to zoom out one more time real quick so you can kind of see how this plays. It wouldn't be cool if we didn't zoom out first. As everyone knows, at the federal level, right, supervision authority is dictated, but at the state level, fortunately, there's been a lot of states that have opted out and allowed, you might have some of this memorized, maybe you don't, but the orange states are the opt-out states where, of course, you can practice without oversight of an anesthesiologist. Those that are not orange are, of course, the flip side. But this might be a really nice way to you don't have to have it memorized, but a nice little reminder while you're in the tool of exactly which states are the opt-out states. We try really hard on the Motion and the ANA team to update it. So if there is a new state that gets added, we reflect that on the map so that you don't have to wonder. And so that's just another really nice way to play around with the tool and kind of have that information at your fingertips. I'm gonna get rid of layers for a second. I mentioned a couple things earlier. I'll go show you those features right now. We've got, first one was follows. So if you start hearting a bunch of jobs and maybe facilities around town that you really want to keep an eye on, that all shows up here. Maybe you followed a market, maybe you're following a bunch of sites, and maybe it's job specific. Whatever it is, if you click on that, it pulls it back up for you so you don't have to go find it again on the map. It's pretty easy with job ski. You can kind of, you can see it. But maybe you're thinking, gosh, there was that facility that I hearted and I don't remember how or where or why, but oh, it was Somnus Anesthesia in Phoenix. And you could just very quickly get right back to it so you can see and kind of proceed with your search. So use that. That's all there designed for you. I'll go back one second. Inside of the follow section to use it to your advantage. Stay organized in your search. And then I mentioned, let's see here. Mentioned another one that I'm going to get to in a second. Oh, it's your messages. Yep. Let's click on this real quickly. So if anybody's communicated with you, I mentioned like, have they received your reply? Have they gotten it? It's all going to show up in your profile. You're going to be a variable. I actually don't have any because it's a test account that we're using, but you'd be able to see kind of who's opened your application, keep tabs on that. But this is also that section where you get to really build out your profile. And I would encourage everybody to take a few minutes to build this out before you start communicating with an employer through Motion. Some of it's already done for you. Like I said, this is your ANA member login. So when you log in, it's going to know your name and your email. That's probably about it. You'll need to go in and fill in credentials and specialty, certification, education, schooling, and of course your CV. So take the time to do that, prepare that, have that on file. You can build multiple CVs if you want to tailor one to a certain type of search versus another, but all that's there designed for you to utilize. And, if I've just mentioned it while we're here, if you have a question or a thought or a comment of any kind around something we could do to make Motion better for you, drop us a little note. Hit the question mark, pops open a little opportunity for you to literally type a quick little question or comment. Please share that with us. We're constantly seeking your feedback so we can make this tool as great as it possibly can be for you. One of the most popular ones recently has been said, hey, can you build in a search for salary? And the answer is it's coming. It's more complicated than it should be. Part of it is that at the state level, it's not a requirement for anyone to advertise any type of job with a salary. Therefore, that becomes a little bit limiting in the ability, right? You wouldn't see it for a lot of states because people choose not to. And the second thing is we're in information gathering mode. So we have to ask the employers for that information first. And then when we get it, we have enough information for you to use it as a searchable way to slice and dice the map. So it's coming, but if there's something else that you're thinking of that you want to see us do, add that there. I think we've hit the big ones. You can get into ANA's insurance services. Jeff touched on malpractice. ANA has a phenomenal, if your program that you're currently in or went to school for does this, take advantage of it. There's a lot of webinars we do with the ANA insurance services team to help you understand your options and really understand malpractice. So click on that. Tell your program director or coordinator to sign your program up because it's a really wonderful webinar that we do. I'm going to pause real quick, stop sharing my screen, just because I want to see if we missed any Q&A. Jeff, did we get anything that came in?
No, no, we've been so thorough. No one's had any specific questions for us, Jared, but that just
That's
means that
exactly
you've
what it
done a great
was.
job educating all of us on what a great tool Motion is.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Tell you what, it's a great chance to pause again. I know we've got time left today scheduled for the webinar. So that's certainly all I had planned for today. And Jeff, if there's anything you wanted to cover, by all means, jump in. Otherwise, we can make just a few seconds or minutes and see if any questions pop up.
Yeah. Well, I hope everyone found that to be informative, right? In the sense of like I talked all about discovery, and I think that the key that I want everyone to take away from this is motion, which ANA is kind of employing, right, to help you with the job search. It's such an incredible tool. And as you saw just in a few clicks, right, you could within an hour, you could be the most informed person in the room when you go to that contract negotiation. So just make sure you're leveraging the tools at hand, and it can help you get a better offer, whether that's more money or quality of life, which is who doesn't want better?